So, after the Dodgers put it to the Cubbies in convincing fashion and the party started at my Packardwood Blue local sports bar, a Cubs fan works the room congratulating every Dodgers fan in the house. As HES making the rounds, this fellow comes up to me and says, "I am truly happy for you, now go win this." Hugs all around. The world may seem sideways these days, but somehow, I think we're gonna be alright. Jim Brockwest, Los Angeles. As a lifelong Dodgers fan, it is beyond words to finally see the boys in blue back in the Fall Classic after 29 long years. Lest we forget, it was 29 years prior to the 1988 series that the Dodgers made it to their first World Series representing Los Angeles. I can't wait to see what is in store for the 2046 season. Go Blue. Dennis Lifton Cypress. How wonderful to see Tommy Lasorda at the Dodgers' pennant-clinching win in Chicago. We only wish that someone had been there to ask him his opinion of Kike's performance. Doug Thompson, West Los Angeles. Congratulations to the Dodgers on their 111 victory, winning them the pennant. If it's any solace to the Cubs, their loss was only 21 in Roman numerals. Gary Roboyle Height. So gratifying to finally read an article extolling the virtues of Major League Baseball's finest executive, Andrew Friedman. Nearly 3 years in and he has successfully combined the art of winning trades, signing valuable free agent additions, building a knowledgeable staff, and rebuilding the farm system, all while creating an environment where players want to be. Whether the Dodgers go on and win it all this season, one thing is for certain: Andrew's Blue Crew will be in the World Series conversation for years to come. Doug Withorn of Santa Monica. Global warming, horrible hurricanes in the southeast, terrible fires in the West Island, sinking in the Pacific. But at least balls are finally flying out of Dodger Stadium at night. David Weber. West Hollywood. The Oaklanders had the Bash brothers of Canseco and McGuire. Now 30 years later, the Dodgers have the tongue-wagging Snake brothers of Puig and Taylor. Maybe the whole team soon. Just a little something to help this very special bunch continue to work toward a World Series ring. Jay Slater. Los Angeles. Justin Turner's home run was beyond awesome, but not nearly as miraculous as Kirk Gibson's, so can everyone please stop with the comparisons? 1. Gibson's homer was hit with the Dodgers trailing, not tied. Point 2. It happened in the World Series, not the NLCS, propelling the Dodgers to an upset victory over a prohibitively favored opponent. Point 3. It was hit off the game's most dominant closer, Dennis Eckersley, who jumped out ahead with 2 quick strikes. With each pitch, Gibby looked overmatched as he battled to work the count full. Point 4. And the capper, Gibson was injured and not expected to play. He couldn't run. Coming out of the dugout to hit was in itself miraculous. I still say the only homer as good as Gibson's was hit by Robert Redford. Anthony J. Moretta. Not a great start, so if the Lakers win about 5 or 6 more games this season to add to last year's mark of 26 wins, is that going to guarantee that the likes of a LeBron James and or a Paul George are going to want to sign with the club as free agents? I don't think so. Until we actually see a big-name free agent or 2 sign on the Lakers' dotted line, it will be another long season, with just a little bit of growth, but not much. I hope Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka have a plan B. Chris Saucer. Fountain Valley Ball don't lie. Except for Lava, who told us his son was an NBA player. After Thursday night's game, it's obvious he belongs on the bench of the D-League, not in the starting lineup. The Lakers are probably already regretting they gave up on D'Angelo Russell, who scored 30 points in the Nets opener. Lonzo needs some schooling. He should be in class right now at UCLA. Robert Bubnovich. Irvin. The only thing worse than Lonzo's performance in the opener was LeVar's performance in his interview after the game. Glenn Thompson. Terrence LeVar Ball asks, who is Patrick Beverley? Well, Lava, I'll tell you. He is the guy on the Clippers that reminded all of us that Lonzo is now playing with grown men. Jim Amore, Minor Rancho Palos Verdes. No defense of Bruins. I think it's classy of UCLA to offer tickets to this week's game for $19.67 in honor of Gary Beban's 1967 Heisman Trophy. Of course, that's well above market value for a ticket to see this team play, but it's still classy. Rob Osborne. Manhattan Beach. Take heart, Bruins fans, it's only 351 days until the next bye week. Mario Valvo Ventura. UCLA had a bye week to prepare for Arizona and then allowed 605 yards of offense. Perhaps it's time for AD Dan Guerrero to say bye-bye to coach Jim Mora and/or defensive coordinator Tom Bradley. Roy Real. Culver City. The state of California faces 3 enormous fiscal challenges: unfunded pension liabilities, support for low-income housing development, and Jim Mora's buyout. Wesley Wellman Santa Monica Fun. The Maury era began. UCLA was on the rise, and Penn State had just been given the NCAA death penalty, a program reeling. Now, they're contending for a national championship, while the Bruins are back in solitary confinement. Just saying. Jeff Corliss Rancho Mirage Mora spoke about how great the tackling, focus, and energy is in practice, and then comments that he is baffled when it does not carry over to a game. Really, could it be due to the fact that the players that you are tackling in practice have UCLA printed on the front of their uniforms? Of course they are easy to tackle, as everyone they have played has shown. If you truly want to get real game preparation, maybe bus in Matedeus and John Bosco players so the defense can practice against legitimate Division I skill position players. Definitely couldn't hurt. Matt Harrell Huntington Beach. Their kids on the UCLA football team are looking at themselves for what is going wrong. Shades of Bob Toledo's last year. It starts with the coaches and their failure to lead. These kids don't need to practice tackling, they need leadership from their coaches. Felipe Hernandez Glendale. Can there be any doubt but that if Jim Healy were still and broadcasting, his prelude to talking about UCLA football would be his often played tape of Charles Barkley, bad team, man, bad bleeping team, Richard Agay, Los Angeles Trojan times WHASNT USC given a scholarship to kicker Chase McGraw. Perhaps he is in a fraternity, or he has parents that have lifetime associates parking that has been revoked by Mad Max Nikias. This ISNT the Trojan family that I knew. Ted Bartshare, a Pasadena dereliction of duty. Lynn Swann said he had not talked with Andy Enfield about how USC would handle players who could potentially be ruled ineligible by the NCAA. Kathleen Collins, Santa Monica captain on board, never understood why the Times hockey writers would turn on Dustin Brown. Brown was the guy daring, and taking, more hits than anyone on the team. He never backed away from going deep into the corners. He would fight for every inch around the goal crease as well. He was the captain of 2 Stanley Cup champion teams, and instrumental in securing both cups. From my point of view, HES still the captain and HES daring every night. Ed Galstier Carpinteria. Here's the answer in the October 14th sports letters regarding the U.S. soccer team's failure to qualify for the World Cup. Barry Smith wrote, "The question most Americans want to know is, what is soccer?" He is absolutely correct. Most Americans, which include Central Americans, South Americans, Mexicans, North Americans, call the sport football. Brad Nelson Oxnard Fine Winer. Chris Paul asked a question of his former team: if you're not trying to contend with the Warriors, what are you doing? I'd like to remind Mr. Paul of what he was doing, complaining to the refs constantly, especially if one was female. I didn't like that culture either, as a fan, and I think Mr. Paul was as much a part of creating it, as anyone on the team. Houston, you can have the problem. Craig Rosen, Los Angeles. The Los Angeles Times welcomes expressions of all views. Letters should be brief and become the property of the Times. They may be edited and republished in any format. Each must include a valid mailing address and telephone number. Pseudonyms will not be used. Mail Sports Viewpoint. Los Angeles Times, 202 W 1st Street, Los Angeles, California 90012. Fax 213-237-4322. Email sports@latimes.com.